He was the left-handed outlaw who made Sundays feel like a barroom story, part myth, part mud, all nerve. They called him Snake, and when the pocket collapsed, he didn't just survive it, he turned chaos into folklore. But here's the contradiction. Ken Stabler was never the biggest arm, never the cleanest stat sheet, never the most obedient son of the playbook, and yet he bent entire seasons to his will. How does a quarterback with scars and whiskey gravel charisma become the heartbeat of the 1970s Raiders and the North Star for every gunslinger after him? How do you measure poise that shows up with 90 seconds left and the whole world closing in? To understand Stabler, you don't start with a number. You start with a moment, then another and another, until you realize those moments changed the league. Before he was the silver and black ringleader, Kenny Stabler was an Alabama kid who learned to win in the rain. In the 1967 Iron Bowl, with the field chewed into a bog, he kept the ball cut once and sloshed 47 yards through the mud for the game-winning touchdown. A play that still lives in Tuscaloosa memory as Run in the Mud. It wasn't pretty, it was perfect. Because it told you something vital. This quarterback was comforted by discomfort, patient inside storms, and unafraid of a dirty jersey. By the time Oakland called, the NFL was turning meaner and faster. The Raiders, under Al Davis and John Madden, were building a roster that felt like rock and roll. Speed at receiver, violence in the trenches, and a license for their quarterback to gamble within the structure. Stabler didn't truly seize the job until 1973, but once he did, the Raiders' personality and their passer became one thing. That season, he led the league in completion percentage, and the tone was set. Decisive, rhythmic, fearless. Oakland would ask him to win late, to improvise, to read the room and the coverage with the same calm. He did. The next year, he detonated, 2,769 yards, 26 touchdowns, and was named the NFL's most valuable player, a lefty maestro conducting a renegade orchestra. Greatness never shows up alone. It brings critics and collisions. Stabler drew both. The Raiders were perennial contenders and perennial doubters' darlings. Too wild, too undisciplined, too Hollywood to finish. Pittsburgh's Steel Curtain became the annual gatekeeper, and in back-to-back AFC title games in '74 and '75, the Steelers slammed the door. Stabler, playing hurt and hunted, took hits, threw interceptions, and wore the blame, because that's what quarterbacks do. Those losses weren't just defeats, they were accusations. Could Snake win the biggest one, or was he just a dramatist who made heartbreak look cinematic? Even inside the huddle, the demand was relentless. The Raiders' culture rewarded nerve, but it also punished hesitation. One misread, and you'd hear about it from coaches who measured quarterbacks in scars. Stabler kept stepping back into the fire, and then came the moments that defined his contradictions. In December 1974, facing the two-time champion Dolphins in a divisional epic, the pocket collapsed. Stabler, practically horizontal, feathered a pass into a sea of hands in the end zone. Running back Clarence Davis wrestling the ball among defenders, season saved, dynasty ended. It was reckless. It was genius. It was Snake. A few winters later in Baltimore, the Raiders teetered with seconds left, backs to the cold. Madden dialed for Dave Casper on a deep post. Ghost to the post. Stabler lofted a moonshot that Casper tracked like a streetlight in the dark, setting up the tying kick, then later hit him again in double overtime for the walk-off. The price of that magic? Another week of bruises and another round of questions, because even that classic didn't end in a title that year. The narrative, brilliant but incomplete, hung over him like fog. Then came the controversy that fed the mythology. 1978, San Diego, seconds left. Stabler, hit and going down, shoveled the ball forward. It pinballed toward the end zone. Pete Banasak, then Dave Casper. Finally, the touchdown. The Holy Roller. Oakland won. The rulebook changed, and with it, the legend of a quarterback who kept pushing both the boundary and the clock. To understand how Stabler climbed from close call artist to champion, zoom in on 1976. He was surgical, 12 starts, 27 touchdowns, a 103.4 passer rating in a bruising era that did not hand out clean pockets or easy flags. He threw on time, willingly took hits to buy a half beat, and trusted his receivers, Biletnikov's craft, Branch's jet fuel, Casper's hands, to finish the picture. That year, Oakland finally broke through, steamrolling to Super Bowl and flattening Minnesota. Stabler's line in the game was modest, 12 of 19, 180 yards, 1 touchdown. But the tape hums with exactly who he was. Calm cadence, quick decisions, brutal accuracy under duress. He didn't have to be flashy to be fatal. He only had to be right. Across the mid-70s arc, the numbers tell the stylistic truth. In 1973, he led the league in completion percentage. In 1974, he stacked 2,169 yards and 26 touchdowns on his way to MVP. In 1976, he hit that 27 TD peak while posting one of the era's great efficiency seasons. Range it all together, and you get a portrait of controlled aggression. Fewer wasted throws, more red zone nerve, and a willingness to challenge the seams when the coverage blinked. But Stabler's influence wasn't just math, it was mood. He normalized the idea that a quarterback could be both artist and assassin. Cool in the huddle, ruthless at the line, almost playful with pressure. Watch the sea of hands again. He waits a heartbeat longer than comfort allows, then rolls the dice with a touch pass only his guy can fight for. Watch ghost to the post, anticipation, arc, and trust. Ball thrown before the break, belief that Casper
will make it right. Watch any 2-minute drill. He turned the sideline clock into a friend. Those aren't just highlights, they're a manifesto. Inside the building, that tone echoed. Stabler's Raiders reached 5 straight AFC title games in the mid-70s, the very definition of sustained menace. In the regular season stretch after taking over as starter, he went 50 on 11 which won, proof that the swashbuckler was also a metronome. And in the black and white catalog, he left Oakland with 19,078 yards and 150 touchdowns, setting team marks across attempts, completions, yards, and scoring throws by the end of his run. The stat page is a ledger of pressure mastered. Ask defenders who played him. He was hell on third and medium, a compulsive chain mover, and a master of shoulder fakes that didn't just freeze safeties, they humiliated them. Ask teammates. The huddle felt lighter when Snake cracked a grin. He made football breathable. That matters in January. Even the controversies sharpened his silhouette. The Holy Roller forced the league to rewrite how forward fumbles could be advanced in the final 2 minutes. When a player breaks football so thoroughly the rulebook blinks, you're not just producing moments, you're shaping the sport. Stabler did that with a lefty release that looked like a painter's brush stroke, smooth, late whipping, and somehow always landing where belief said it would. Winning extracts a toll, so does almost winning. For Stabler, the bruising came in layers. The interceptions piled up in bad stretches. 1978 was a 30-pick gauntlet, and the same fearless decisions that turned fourth quarters into epics sometimes turned Octobers into headaches. Critics circled the ledger. He felt that. All quarterbacks do. And then there were the near misses. The AFC title games that ended under confetti not meant for Oakland. The playoff losses that fed a narrative he had to punch through to be seen clearly. The body kept the receipts too. Hits that would be flags today were simply good football then. He wore every one of them. If you want a single image of the cost, it's not a throw. It's the quiet after a loss. Shoulder pads half unbuckled, tape dangling, that look mid-distance athletes get when they can see the play they needed and the one they made. Stabler had those nights, and yet he kept showing up, kept trusting his arm and his guys and the clock to eventually swing his way. That's the line between a star and a pillar, the willingness to carry both the trophies and the tab. What remains? Numbers, yes. Nearly 28,000 passing yards, 194 touchdowns, and a career rating of 75.3 in an unforgiving age. A Lombardi hoisted, an MVP, 5 straight conference title game trips, and a 1970s Raiders identity that still feels like electricity trapped in film grain. But Stabler's truest legacy lives in the modern quarterback's permission structure. Today's best passers throw with anticipation, trust body language, and welcome the call with 80 seconds left as a chance to become a memory. That grammar of nerve over raw velocity speaks with a left-handed accent because of Snake. The folklore has chapter titles: Run in the Mud, Sea of Hands, Ghost to the Post, The Holy Roller. Together they aren't just plays, they're a map of how one player taught a team and a league how to breathe under pressure and how to enjoy the brink. Oakland became a place where winning could be swashbuckling and precise at once. Stabler proved those ideas aren't contradictory, they're complementary. The final measure came later. In 2016, the Hall of Fame called posthumously and placed him in Canton, where ringed bronze meets forever. It made sense. How do you enshrine cool? You tell stories that refuse to age. How do you honor timing? You put a bust up where time stands still. And how do you explain Ken Stabler to someone who never saw him? You say this: he was an artist who chose 2 minutes as his canvas, a gambler who knew the odds and played them anyway, and a champion who made pressure feel like a friend. That's not just a resume, that's a feeling. And feelings, when they belong to legends, don't fade. They echo every time a quarterback looks at the clock, smiles a little, and decides the story isn't over yet.